Am I the jerk for escalating a heated argument in front of children, which had to be diffused by coaches? My son, who is in grade school, plays for a soccer team. Today, at practice, a heated altercation happened between me and another parent. The other parent has a child on a younger team, but they were practicing with us today. This is only important from the perspective that I will not see this parent around again. I was practicing with my child before practice began. We were using the fence as a goal since the goals were not available today. We had been there for 5 to 10 minutes before the mother showed up and stood by the fence where my son was shooting. My first thought was that it was odd she chose that place out of all places. She also kept staring at us and looked annoyed. We kept practicing. My son kicked the ball in her direction a couple of times accidentally. He is a very soft kicker and cannot kick the ball hard. One of the times, the father came over and asked the mother, "Are you okay? Did it hit you? Did they say anything?" At first I thought, wait, are they referring to my son's kick? No way, that was such a soft kick. Maybe someone else kicked it in her direction. The father started standing by the mother and we kept practicing. After 5 minutes, my son accidentally kicked the ball in her direction again. The father then said, "If this ball comes this way again, I am going to kick it over the fence." I responded with, "For what? We have been practicing here before you showed up. Go somewhere else." He rambled some more and I told him to go away. He approached me physically until he was within 1 foot of me. He said, "You want to fight? You want all this smoke? You do not. You want to go? Let's go." And I said, "Dude, you have 10 to 20 years on me, but you are acting like someone half my age. Get out of my face." That is when the coaches showed up and diffused the situation. I definitely played a part in escalating the situation, especially with kids around, although they were not really within earshot of our heated incident. However, I am sure they could have seen that we were verbally arguing about something. Judge me based on the above, but I will add these 2 extra details. First, after the coaches diffused the situation, I walked away. The father tried to apologize to me, but I just laughed and walked away. He started saying, "Aw, keep crying." Second, this happened at the beginning of practice. At the end of practice, as we were walking away, he said, "Hey man, have a good one," in an apologetic tone. Again, I did not acknowledge him, but my son overheard him telling other parents, "It is okay. Some people are like that." Regardless of who was at the fence first, this wasn't the way to handle it. When parents argue at youth sports events, it's an everyone sucks here situation for sure. Now, regardless of whether the other parent started it, you will be seen as the difficult one who refused to get over it. Next time, have your kid not kick towards the selfish lady, and then you won't have to fight off other ass like you. Am I the jerk for accusing my partner of cheating with their best friend after they ditched me on our anniversary? So I, a 25-year-old male, have been dating my girlfriend Emma, a 24-year-old female, for about 3 years. We have had our ups and downs like any couple, but overall I thought we had a solid relationship. Recently, however, things have gotten weird. It all started a few months ago when Emma began spending a lot more time with her best friend, Rachel, who is also a 24-year-old female. I have always been cool with Emma having close friends, and I have hung out with Rachel many times too. Lately, it seems like every time I try to make plans with Emma, she has already made plans with Rachel. I tried to brush it off at first, thinking maybe she just needs some girl time. Then I started noticing little things. Emma seemed to be more secretive with her phone. She would get a message, glance at it, smile, and then quickly put her phone away. When I asked who she was texting, she would say, "Oh, just Rachel," but wouldn't elaborate. The breaking point came last week on our anniversary. We had planned a nice dinner at a fancy restaurant. I made reservations weeks in advance and even got her a special gift. On the day of, Emma called me, saying she couldn't make it because Rachel was going through a tough time and needed her. She promised we would celebrate another time. I was upset but tried to be understanding. After all, friends help each other out in tough times, right? Then I saw a story on Rachel's Instagram that same night of the 2 of them out at a bar, laughing and having drinks. There were no signs of tough times anywhere. I confronted Emma about it when she got home, and she became very defensive. She said I was being ridiculous and that I should trust her. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. A few days later, I went through Emma's phone while she was in the shower. I know it was a bad thing to do, but I was desperate. What I found shocked me. There were hundreds of messages between her and Rachel. While most of them were pretty innocent, there were a few that were suggestive. Messages like, "I had the best time last night, can't wait to do it again." I confronted Emma and she lost it. She accused me of being paranoid and controlling. She said Rachel was just her best friend and that I had no right to go through her phone. I replied that she was cheating on me and asked if she was a lesbian or bisexual and just using me as a cover. Now, Emma is staying at Rachel's place, saying she needs space. Rachel even called me furious, saying that I am the bad person for not trusting Emma and that they are just friends. Emma hasn't spoken to me since she left, and I am honestly torn. Was I out of line or is there something more going on here? Am I the bad person? You are not to blame. It's clear she doesn't prioritize you. She blew off your anniversary to hang out with her friend, which shows where her priorities lie. Just gather her things and drop them off at Rachel's house. It's time to move on. Best of luck finding someone who actually wants to be with you. Am I the jerk? Am I in the wrong? Any similar situations? I was pranked by my friend. I was called via my cell phone at least 5 times and was told false accusations as a prank. A girl, older than myself, spoke and said, "I performed oral sex on your boyfriend, and he slept with me so well about 2 weeks ago multiple times." As I listened to her vulgar and inappropriate comments, I was honestly at a loss for words and questioned if the love of my life had been unfaithful. Of course, I took a moment and did not believe anything that was said, because my boyfriend and I are that annoying couple that is attached at the hip 24/7. Our relationship is not perfect, but we have both been hurt by our past relationships. We understand each other's feelings and want to build a life together. I knew my person, my other half, would not betray me in that way, nor would I. Once again, this was a prank by my so-called friend. She was a friend I offered to stay at my home if needed. She was a friend I never allowed anyone to speak down upon. She was a friend I comforted when she was angry. She was a friend I never thought would jeopardize my relationship because she thought it was funny. I received an apology once I called her, but only after I had to let her know it was not my intention to argue but to communicate as women. I spoke with respect and intent to help these girls understand. This is a lesson learned in moving forward, to not hurt anyone else because this prank can ruin someone's life. Although I received an apology, both girls refused to apologize to my boyfriend because they didn't know him or care enough about him. They, of course, took my advice the wrong way. They felt as if I was a psychiatrist and not their mother. If I had not known this was a prank, my boyfriend and I would have been separated. No matter how secure you are in a relationship, being told by another woman over the phone that your partner slept with them is hurtful and shameful as well. Also, hearing our names from a girl neither of us knows is, of course, concerning, and the authorities were made aware right away. Of course, I am angry, but I am disappointed I ever showed kindness to someone so inconsiderate. My boyfriend was beyond hurt and scared, and he deserves an apology. It is unfortunate he will never get one. I ask everyone to send out their prayers to him and support. Thank you. I really did not think I was being unreasonable until the end when I was just annoyed and disgusted by their behavior. Your friends sound like bratty teenagers. Throw them out. A true friend doesn't do pranks that could ruin your relationship, and they should care about their friend's significant other too. Seriously, that friend of yours is not worth the hassle if she's willing to hurt you and your boyfriend. You're handling this very maturely, and it's great to see that you have such trust in your boyfriend. Am I the jerk for not forgiving my sibling who is a recovering alcoholic? My older sister struggled with alcohol dependency starting in her 20s. It began after she had her son, who is now 7 years old, and she developed severe postpartum depression. We did not live in the same state during this time, and I tried to be supportive as much as I could as a freshly graduated 22-year-old barely scraping by. She has gone through many ups and downs in the last 7 years, including getting divorced because of her habits and her ex-husband getting sole custody of their son. She has attempted some recovery centers but never stayed more than a week. A few years ago, she started dating different men and moving from city to city every 3 months, hardly speaking to family, including her son. During this time, she constantly asked me for money. I hardly ever had any to give. When I did, I paid it directly to a rent portal or car payment site. However, most of the time I did not have money to give her, and she would call me horrible names and tell me that I was a worthless sister in person. She got her boyfriends to reach out to me for money, and they would harass me as well. She even once told a man she was with that I would sleep with him too. When I was 26 years old, she called me from an airport 3 states away and asked me to come get her. I told her that I had no way to do that, but would send her money for an Uber. This led to her berating me over the phone about how she never wanted to speak to me again, and how her addiction was entirely my fault for not being a better sister. A while ago, she checked herself into a really great program and has been sober for about 1.5 years. I am incredibly proud of her and I love her. She is doing very well for herself and has moved to the same city as her son and has him every other weekend. Everything I learn about her has been through our parents or her ex-husband. She reached out to me last week, asking if I wanted to fly in to see her and my nephew. I have kept in contact with my nephew through her ex-husband, but I've not seen him a lot since I do not live close by. I was shocked to hear from her. She has not acknowledged her behavior towards me at all, just called me and started chatting like none of the horrible things she said ever happened. My parents told me that it is my responsibility to forgive and forget and help her move on from her dependency as well. But I don't know. I am genuinely extremely hurt by all of the things she said. I have never been in this situation and don't know what the proper thing is to do, but as of right now, I do not want to talk to her. Am I the person at fault for not forgiving her? You have done nothing wrong. If she isn't taking responsibility for her previous actions, and considering the people she's hurt, her recovery is already very tenuous. Your parents have it all wrong. It's your sister's responsibility to apologize to you for all the times she hurt you. Where's your sister's responsibility for her actions? It's not something anyone is obligated to forgive and forget, especially without genuine remorse and effort to make amends. Am I the jerk for storming out after my parents tried to have an intervention? I stormed out of the house and stayed with my boyfriend for a week after my parents tried to have an intervention. I recently graduated from college and moved back home. I am currently on the job hunt. I have gotten a good number of interviews, but unfortunately, the companies have not wanted to move forward. This has been affecting my mental health a lot, but I do not allow this to hinder my job search. I have been taking my time since graduating to job search and travel a bit. My father thinks that I need a job immediately and that I need to stop traveling. My mother has been more lenient but now has been insistent about getting a job. They both want me to stay home and work part-time until I find something. This is completely fine, and I actually have an interview tomorrow for a part-time job for the meantime. The reason my parents got so upset was that I left to go see my long-distance boyfriend. He lives exactly 2 hours away, which is not too bad. During the time I am visiting him, I spend the majority of my day applying for jobs or doing research for jobs that want to interview me. I do not see why this is such a problem because I would be doing the same thing if I stayed at home. My boyfriend is the only one who understands and calms me down when my parents upset me. Both my parents were yelling at me before I left, saying that I need a job immediately. They threatened to take my car away. It is not that I do not want a job, which I do very much, but I just graduated college, and I worked all throughout college, which was exhausting. My younger sister, who is also in college, has never had to work, and when she took a gap year, she did not work during that time either. Storming out during the intervention might have escalated the situation. It is important to address my parents' concerns calmly and try to understand their perspective. Their insistence on me finding a job quickly is likely driven by worry and care, even if their approach feels harsh. I guess I do not understand why they are being so tough on me when my sister has done nothing but mooch off my parents and slack in school. Why cannot they turn their attention to her first? I really just wanted to take some time to relax and find a job that fits me and pays well. Right now I am just ready to accept whichever marketing job offers me a position far away from home, so I will not have to come back. This all has been extremely stressful. Now my mother and father will not talk to me. I am not sure if my actions are reasonable or not. Please help me out. Am I the antagonist? Your actions were justified. The job market is really tight right now, and it takes time to find something that fits, especially if you've just graduated. It's pretty heavy-handed and neurotic for your parents to stage an intervention after only 3 weeks. Keep sending out resume, including for temporary positions, and maybe ask a personnel director for some feedback if you're not landing interviews. Am I the jerk for riding my bike on the road? This is at a large university. There is one short road that is about 1/4 mile long. A bike path, which is a sidewalk, is about 10 feet from the road. Another bike path with a large sidewalk is about 50 feet from the road. I often take this road because my bike is parked right next to it, and it is often faster to travel on the road than to get to the bike path and travel only a short distance. Normally, I go the speed limit of 25 miles per hour, traveling around 22 to 23 miles per hour on this road. If any car catches up to me, we are generally within 200 feet of the stop sign, where everyone should be slowing down anyway, so it does not affect other cars. Today, however, it was extremely windy, and I did not expect that. I hopped on the road as I normally do, but halfway down the road, the wind caused me to go sluggish. I checked behind me and luckily there were no cars. However, there is a turn onto this road that is 400 feet from the stop sign at the end of the road. A car turned out and had to follow me for 400 feet until I could get off the road and back onto the sidewalk to continue the path. At this sidewalk, the bike path and all other sidewalks meet into one intersection. This is where I hop on the bike path. He followed me for 400 feet close behind and then yelled at me, "There is a bike path for a reason, buddy." I felt a little bad since I was holding him up. Thus, from his perspective, he was following a slow biker holding up the road when there is a bike path to the right of the road. This made me wonder if I was in the wrong. There was not much I could have done as I did not know it would be that windy today, and I also did not see him until we were practically at the stop sign because the distance is short. I have taken measures to prevent this from happening again on other windy days, such as checking my tires, which were a bit flat. I guess the main issue is that I did not see him pull out and get behind me. Otherwise, I would have tried to speed up to the speed limit. I do not know. What do you think? Should I always take the bike path, or should I continue riding on the road? If there's a bike path right beside the road, it's definitely better to use it. It ensures you're not obstructing traffic flow and keeps everyone safer. The bike path isn't far from the road, so it just makes sense to take it. If the bike path were unsafe or non-existent, then using the road would be understandable, but that's not the case here. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.